Alright, welcome to yet another episode of Cooking with TZac. Today's recipe is pretty close to my heart. It's a recipe that my grandma used to make me and my cousins while we were growing up in Kerala. Now, most of you would probably, it's like an afternoon snack, and most of you would have probably heard of the Pazham Puri or the banana fritters that you'll typically find in chai kadas or tea stalls. But this one's different. This one is Pazham Peechi, and Peechi literally translates to squeezed, but in this case it kind of means mashed. And unlike the Pazham Puri, which requires the long bananas, this one uses the elaichi ones, the tiny ones, which have a completely different flavor. And you typically want the bananas to get over ripened. In this case, it's gone a little too far, as you can see. It's turned almost completely black. I think there's a little bit of mold growing on the outside, but they're still usable because they're protected by the skin. So it's all like mashy already, so it should be fairly easy to mash up. So the recipe is pretty straightforward. It has basically 4 ingredients. There's bananas, which are kind of over ripened. There's corn flour, there's rice flour, and then there's sugar. And I'm using brown sugar here. You could substitute the corn flour and the rice flour with maida as well. It works fine. And that's it. That's just 4 ingredients for this recipe. So the first step is to mash up the bananas. You obviously have to peel them first. They're already all like soft and mashy. And they smell, you can smell the sweetness all the way. Now you just smash. Just use a fork. Just go at it. You can use it. Just kind of mash it against the back of the, side of the bowl. Okay. Now that looks pretty gross, doesn't it? But now we're gonna add the flours into this. Now we have corn flour. I'm gonna add about there's about 1 cup of mashed banana in there, and you can measure it just to be sure. For about 1 cup of mashed banana, you need about 1/4 of a cup of corn flour and about 1/4 of a cup of rice flour. Okay. And you need about 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, or regular sugar is fine, or you could even add jaggery. And I'm going to add a little bit of a pinch of salt. She never added salt, but I think the salt is going to bring out the flavors. And then continue to mash. It's going to form like a thick batter of sorts, almost doughy, somewhere between a dough and a batter. Okay. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You have your batter ready. Just 4 ingredients. But I'm thinking, typically, I would add something like a baking powder to a batter like this. Just a tiny amount. Maybe like 1/4 teaspoon. And in this case, I'm also going to add an egg. I think the traditional recipe my grandma used to make didn't have these ingredients, but what the egg is going to do is, and the baking powder is going to lighten it up and soften it up and make it a little more richer and ultimately tastier. So yeah, sorry, it's not a 4 ingredient recipe, it's a 6 ingredient recipe. but I think we're good here. Now you want to let this kind of rest in the refrigerator for about an hour. Okay, so now this has been resting, and it's time to fry. So we have this oil going on, and I'm going to give you a fantastic tip. Whenever you're using oil to fry, if it's completely fresh oil, whatever you're cooking is not gonna, whatever you're frying is not gonna fry properly. So you want to add a little bit of any old frying oil that you have, just a tiny bit. And what that's going to do is the impurities in that oil are going to kind of enable the frying to happen more evenly and more consistently. But it's a great tip, and that oil is basically from frying Kerala fried chicken like a month and a half ago. So I'm going to save this oil for later as well. It's getting nice and hot. What we're going to do also is, so it's easier and less messier to fry this, we'll take the batter in a ladle like this and put it hot enough. You want the oil to be about medium to medium high, not too hot because then it's not going to cook through. You can add a little bit to test it out. Yeah, that looks good actually. Okay, and then this is going to come out easily. You can fry these as small or large as you like. I like to fry them into large balls. And you see all of this puffing up, that's from the baking powder. So that's kind of what the baking powder does. Now I'm not sure if, I've never tried this recipe with the baking powder or the egg in fact, so I don't know how it's going to work. But you could very well just make it without both, because that's how my grandma made it and it's perfectly delicious. But I figured why not try something new this time. Turn it over. Yeah. Now the browning is actually happening from the sugar and the banana. It gives this nice caramelly flavor almost. So it's really delicious. You can eat it hot, but I really like to eat it cold, straight out of the refrigerator. There's something really addictive about it. And I mean, I guess I also have some like nostalgic value attached to it. My grandma used to make it, but I'm pretty sure you're gonna like it as well. And it's super easy. You can make it with whatever ingredients I mean, not whatever ingredients, but like the basic ingredients you have at home. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much the color you want to get it to. Alright, time to plate. And I happen to have this little bit of icing sugar. Actually, this is just like granulated sugar that I ground up in the mixer, as you can see, and got a strainer, and you can just dust it to make it look all pretty. You know what else will be good at this? Chocolate sauce. But yeah, there you go. Okay, time to eat. That's so good. The baking powder and the egg definitely helped lighten it up, but it's so delicious. Okay, thank you guys. Try this recipe at home. Let me know how it turns out. and happy cooking with TZac.